This episode is part 2 of a long and insightful conversation we began earlier. If you haven't watched the first part already, we recommend going back to it for context, but this episode stands on its own as we now move deeper into epilepsy and the surgical options available for those who do not respond to medication. In this episode, we bring together 3 close friends and long-time colleagues, Dr. Dinesh Nayak, neurologist, epileptologist and a leading epilepsy expert, Dr. Ravi Mohan Rao, neurosurgeon and epilepsy surgery specialist, and Dr. Sharan Srinivasan, stereotactic and functional neurosurgeon. What unfolds is not just a medical discussion but an intimate look into their personal journeys. How they entered their fields, the mentors who shaped their thinking, and the sacrifices that helped them build the skills and discipline they carry today. They speak about mentorship, the responsibility of honoring their teachers, the subtle but powerful role of hope, how the way a doctor speaks to a patient can influence trust, confidence, and the entire course of treatment. They also take us inside the OT, where a neurologist's thoroughness meets a neurosurgeon's need to preserve the brain function, revealing how differing perspectives can coexist through trust, respect, and friendship. There is a rich teaching moment with Dr. Ravi Mohan Rao as he uses a model of a brain to explain the lobes of the brain and how epilepsy is understood in those regions. It's a simple, clear window into the thought process behind surgical planning and neurological decision making. Not about manifestations, but about understanding the brain itself. They also discuss electrodes of various kinds and the broader landscape of tools now available to evaluate and treat drug-resistant epilepsy. Skill, patience, and consistency weave through their stories, showing the effort behind every decision made for a patient's safety and outcome. The larger message is clear. Epilepsy is treatable. Many people do well with medication, and for those who do not, there are surgical pathways and structured treatment options that can help them return to functional, meaningful lives. An epilepsy diagnosis is not a dead end. With the right care, there is always a way forward. This is Rebooting the Brain, and this episode is a reminder that even after an epilepsy diagnosis, there is direction, dignity, and hope.
ജ്ഞാനാനന്ദമയം ദേവം നിർമ്മലസ്ഫടികാകൃതിം ആധാരം സർവവിദ്യാനാം ഹയഗ്രീവം ഉപാസ്മഹേ ആധാരം സർവവിദ്യാനാം ഹയഗ്രീവ ഉപാസ്മഹേ ഹയഗ്രീവ ഉപാസ്മഹേ.
Rebooting the Brain, powered by PRS Neurosciences. So let's deviate to a little light aspect because we have spoken a lot on epilepsy. So Ravi keeps saying that, you live on air and water. So
Not the other A.
So let me tell you a joke I always tell people. There was this Arab who bought a Rolls Royce, and then he started driving it, and after 15 days, the Rolls Royce stopped. And whatever he did, it didn't work. So this guy was furious. He called up the guy and shouted at him, I spent so much money, all of those things. It's not working. And then the engineer showed up there. Then he opened the bonnet and he said, sir, there's no engine here. He said, how did it work for 15 days? On reputations. No, Ravi is worried that, He needs you to work up all the concordance and all of those things. So, in
And,
our interest, we have to make sure Dinesh's health is, well maintained and things like that.
well,
So-
I'm in that sense a minimalist, if you call it. No,
Perfect.
very
You are like
little.
the sadhu in the Himalayas,
Kind
who's
of,
only
I mean.
once in a while eating
And
once a day. Or...
you suddenly find that you don't need much actually to to be
Got it,
quite
got it.
active, and it's not a problem at all.
No, I don't know how he finds the energy. For me, to eat very less and do surgery is
agree.
impossible. And also, after 2 o'clock in the OPD, if you have not eaten, it becomes very difficult.
That's
Our man continues without eating.
Regardless.
kind of like it's like a
Well, I think-
self-generating engine, I think. He must be having that internal some stuff to recharge him.
Maybe.
And,
I don't know. I
Several
mean, but
stuffs he doesn't touch. He doesn't eat rice.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
another. I think we need to do another episode to find out. The culinary habits of
No.
Dinesh Nayak.
yeah, I mean, I think it's. I realized all of a sudden that you actually don't need much, and I'm quite. I mean, active as I am at 8 o'clock, as I am at 10 in the evening. So
I always ever since I met Dinesh, I should tell everybody he's a surgical neurologist. I've seen that the guy who's really surgeon friendly or whatever you call it at the end of the day.
Just on the aside, when I was in Chitra, I think I was closer to the surgeons than, in the sense I had a lot of surgical friends. In fact, I was the bridge between the two departments, actually. I was the link. And the HOD at the time was Dr. Robins, not Robin.
Rabindra Narayan Bhattacharya.
Yeah, R&B, sorry, R&B. Wonderful gentleman. And one day he told me, Nayak, you're a surgeon. At heart, you're a surgeon. You are wrongly in the neurology department. You should actually be a surgeon.
I actually thought the same, let me be honest. And until day before yesterday, when you gave me the actual answer of why you are a neurologist, I don't know if Ravi knows that. So let me bring it out. So I was talking to him and said, you sound so surgeon friendly. Why did you never think of neurosurgery as an option and instead of neurology? Then he gave me his story for how good he was in neuroanatomy dissection in MBBS. And then he had some, a personal breakdown in his health, which actually got him, slightly deviated, a personal breakdown. And that is to do with his eyesight. So can you tell our viewers, so everybody must be thinking these two guys are come from a different world, they must be gifted, they're God's gift to mankind. They must have had a hunky-dory time right from their childhood, which is not true at all.
Absolutely.
And we want the audience to understand that we are as human, as ordinary as anybody else, with whatever we did to get to where we got. So you have something to say here before Dinesh says something?
Yeah. The thing is, eyesight problem is one thing. Second thing is gurus. He had teachers who made him interested in neurology.
Okay.
One of the best teachers he had is Dr. Pranesh Bhatt.
Correct. He has told me about that. Yes, he's told
So
me.
he made him very much
I agree.
interested in neurology.
He told me that. So tell us about that eyesight problem that you had, which I think we share a lot of things in common there.
I think, we should. I was, in fact, I had I felt almost, very emotional when you told that. Because, I had a problem with my eye, and that's one of the reasons why I could not progress further in the area that I really wanted to,
What did you have? What was the eyesight problem?
Oh, no, I think it's kind of familial because my dad also had, but not that much. But my uncle also had a very bad
But short sight, huh?
Short sight, high myopia.
Myopia, short
So
sight.
at the age of about 7 or 8, when I was in the 4th standard, 9 years of age, and suddenly it became -3. -3 to start with. And then within a year it became -5. And then it remained -5 for some time.
Mhm.
Then within another 2 years it became -9.
My goodness.
Yeah, so -3, -5, -9. By the time I was in the 9th standard, when I was 13, 14 years, it was -9. -9 on both eyes was not very good news.
I agree.
So, it kind of restricted, those thick glasses. And not
You
only
used-
that, because, you're one of the odd chaps around, and people used to make fun also,
Yeah,
soda bottle,
soda. I agree.
kannadi and all
I
that,
mean,
no? It's
very
a soda
sad.
bottle kind
I
of
know,
thing,
I
no?
know.
Uh,
Nowadays, technology is better. You get better
Yeah,
lenses, but at that time, it was terrible. It used to be so
and
thick.
and you won't believe it that actually I got interested in medicine. I decided to just do medicine at, when I was in the 9th, just as when this power increased to 9. What a paradox. I don't know what made me to do that. And I was focused only on that. I was a very average or below average student till then. And somehow, I don't know what wherewithal I had or whatever it is, but I suddenly felt that, medicine is going to be I don't know what. There's
No,
nothing, there's no
sometime,
background to
yeah.
it, nothing. None of our family members, doctors, there's nothing like that. And I finally got into medicine.
But about this, we were talking about your eyesight first before.
Yes. I'll just tell about that. It was -9. And I joined medicine after a year of not getting in and all that, and I got it.
Oh, so you dropped a year in 12th grade.
Yeah, I got it. I did my PU. I wanted to only do medicine. I didn't
Which
get.
part of the country are you from? Where did you all
I
education
did from I know. I grew up in Coimbatore,
Okay.
which is in Tamil
Tamil
Nadu.
Nadu.
It's
Got
a very nice place. It's a tier 2 place,
Mhm.
but it's a small city, but it's a very influential city.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's considered as, a smaller place.
Correct.
Now it's become more high
Correct,
profile. At
correct.
those days, it was considered more of a big kind of a village, kind of a place. At least Madras city used to always consider, these areas were called Mofusil
Correct.
for everything else. So, we grew up in that kind of an environment, and getting into medicine was not easy those days, especially for, the forward community, whatever it is you call it. Anyway, I got in, and lo and behold, 6 months into medicine, and having lost a year, and one day I just happened to close my left eye. I was just rubbing my left eye,
Mm.
and I just couldn't see anything in the right eye.
What?
It was completely dark.
Huh.
It's exactly 6 months into the course. And I thought something has gone wrong, so I went and I again did that. And again, nothing I'm seeing.
Shit.
Absolutely nothing.
My goodness.
It's just a kind of a wave, dark wave going like
My
that.
goodness.
And then I kept repeatedly looking at it, and it was a Sunday, so I don't know what was happening actually. I thought, I suspected maybe something to do with the retina. The next day I went, I told my dad, that we need to go to this, the ophthalmologist. We went on a Monday evening, and that man just saw, he's been my ophthalmologist from, he said, this is an emergency. You got a detached retina and it's involving the central field. It's gone.
My goodness.
You got to get it fixed immediately. And that's another thing. What made me to do what we are doing now is that the personal moments. And I
Okay.
will tell you something about that, because that I think is very inspirational, which I have to tell, which I didn't tell you that time,
Mhm.
is that he said there are only 2 centers in India which deals with retina. This is 1981, in August 1981, which means it's 43 years back.
Mm.
Only 2 centers. Otherwise, it's all in the US and the UK. That's it.
Mm.
Now, the 2 centers are, one is in Madras and Shankar Netralaya, which is Dr. S.S. Badrinath. The other one is in Delhi, in All India Institute. One Dada, his name is Dr. Dada. So he said that 2 was very difficult to go to Delhi and all that. And Shankar Netralaya is the best. And Badrinath has just come back from US. He just set up the Shankar Netralaya just 2 years earlier. 79 he started, after getting trained in retinal surgery. And he said, and it's very difficult to get in there. I went there, and it took about 4 days to evaluate. And one of the, the retinal fellows, the people who do fellowships, they first examined me. And one of the chaps, he did a very detailed indirect retinoscopy and all that, and mapped out, it was all lattice degeneration of the retina. And he said, the chances of getting back vision is only about 10-20%. He was telling,
20%?
he was telling the truth actually. If you look at the literature, it's that. It's about 20%. I mean,
What was going on in your mind when you...
exactly. I mean, and
must
he
have been
did
devastated.
he did a mapping for 3 hours you have to map, because next day is the surgery. Next day they're going to do under GA they're going to do those days what is called scleral buckling and what is that, cryotherapy, So that was the plan, and then you have to accurately map where are the retinal tears, and there are multiple tears all over the retina. And he mapped out 4:30 it started, 7:30 it ended, and I'm lying there, bright light like this, full dilated eye, all that. And he has just told that, the chances are about 20%. So forget this eye. This eye also, the good eye also had some tears.
Quite scary.
And I said, okay. And this man comes in, Dr. Badrinath, to confirm, because he confirms what they have drawn.
Concordance.
The concordance, yes. So the map is there, and then he has drawn holes, 12 o'clock position, 1, 2, 3, so like that, the entire. And then he comes, what he has taken 3 hours to map, he comes in and he puts his, when you do the indirect ophthalmoscopy, because he'll ask you, okay, look at there, like that, and he's only checking what he has done. And in the 3 minutes or 4 minutes which he spent, he found out, change that position to there.
Really?
Yeah. That you just cut that off, put that there. In 5 minutes, in 3-4 minutes, he has meticulously mapped for 3 hours. And he comes in 3 minutes, he says, just make that a little change there, that you just put it a little up, down. I'm hearing all this. And then his elbow was resting on and my heart is pounding at about 150 at that time. For multiple reasons, because he has just told 20% and this big man has come, he's like God at that time, the absolute.
That time Shankar Netralaya was a big getting.
And then he told me, Dinesh, he suddenly told me, Dinesh, why is your heart racing like this?
Oh, he said that?
Yeah. He told me, I'm only 18-year-old, first year of medicine. What are you doing? First year of medicine. What are your... Then he patted me. He said, then he suddenly asked me, what are your hobbies? I said, I'm a trekker. Then he patted me and he said, I'll make your eye all right.
Huh?
He told me, not only can you trek, you can do rock climbing, you can go horse riding.
Amazing.
I don't know what in the sense, he never spoke of statistics. There's a 20% chance of getting this, 10% chance. He just said, I'll make you all right. I'll make you, in other words, he told, I'll make you functional. In that many words. He asked me what my hobbies are. And then he said, don't worry, I'll fix it. And it's not going to detach. That's all he told.
Amazing.
That's it. And he said, I'll do the other one also after a week. But this is the one. Tomorrow we'll do it off. And what I learned at that time as a student of medicine, immediately that thing came into this thing. That two things. Badrinath could have stayed back in US because he got trained in retina. He's supposed to be one of the best retinal surgeons at that time. There he got offers in Boston to be there, Mass General. He said, no, I'm going to come back because there's a need in India. 1979. If he had not come back, I would have been blind. I would have had to go to one of the US centers. And that told that, there is a space. You go abroad, you do whatever you want. Come back.
Serve the country.
Get equipped. Serve your own people. There's a need. it had such an impact on, and it also told me the second thing: give hope to your patients.
Yes.
And that my entire approach to patients is that. And unless a doctor, a treating
Sorry.
physician or a surgeon is on the other side of the table, you have to be on the other side at some point.
To understand.
And it's better if you're at the other side of the table at the beginning of your career. This is what I learned. And you have a serious illness or a problem,
Correct.
and you go through it, you win over it, and then you again come back and then, use your experience to help your other. I was absolutely clear that I'm going to come back. I'll get equipped. I have to do what I have to do. And it's not for myself, it is for my people. I was never convinced to stay
Amazing.
back anywhere. I was fully. The other thing is to skill yourself. I learned that. That's the second thing that I learned. You skill yourself. You have to spend 15 years. In these fields, you need at least 15 years.
I agree.
So you skill yourself first. And then you equip yourself fully. Never look at the monetary aspect at that time, because that's not going to. Skilling is more important than getting. And once you do that, then you come back and serve. I use Badrinath as the role model for that part of it, because how to talk to patients, how to give hope, because he was supremely confident of his own skill set, which means that he has equipped himself. So that is the point that I would. I think that is something that I learned very early in life. I'm happy that I went through that experience, because
Amazing.
otherwise I would have been probably just good at my subject, but I wouldn't probably not. I wouldn't understand the other person's ethos to that extent, and that is something that's why I give hope. I don't talk of percentages to people. I don't talk much about percentages, because these percentages are generally, I just say,
Statistical.
okay, I mean, we are there for you. Don't worry. We'll work it out.
And sometimes I think that energy that it creates,
And
sometimes
it
magic
creates-
can
it-
happen.
it
That
creates positivity.
belief and trust they have.
And
Now, doctor will somehow he'll get me all right.
Exactly.
Whatever
Because
that somehow is. That
yeah.
that.
And it's not a false hope.
Correct.
And it's another thing. We are not dealing with, you're not
You're
giving
not.
some,
Yeah.
It is with a certain
True.
reason, with a certain
Responsibility and
responsibility.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the right word. With responsibility. It's not just.
No,
So
I think what you said, Dinesh, number one is from, as a patient, hope and confidence that somebody is there who is going to do his best to get me better. You also told on the other side of 15 years of toiling to skill yourself. And I think at that time, don't look at the money. Today's generation wants money yesterday. They want earn before they learn. They only look at how much the salary they're getting paid. They don't care what they're doing. I think if there's one message we want to give you guys, don't think we do a 4-year course and we make tons of money. I'll tell you a very interesting news for you guys. None of us have had a campus interview. Nobody comes looking for us. Do they come looking for you? No big packages. You will never see a neurosurgeon's got this package from like Amazon or nobody comes. We have to literally, figure out what is to be done.
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah, I've never understood. Though we are so small number, yet nobody comes looking for any of us. We have to do that. So skilling is very important. That's what Ravi also said very clearly. To have such an amazing results, you guys as partners in this thing, last 15 years, have impacted 500 patients with surgical results, apart from the thousands more you have impacted without surgical, but many other ways by the skill sets that you have. The
500 is in the corporate sector.
Correct.
Earlier we were doing this in Chitra.
Yeah, Chitra. So that's this huge number, but just 2 individuals. And you are seeing, guys, how much of time, money, energy, effort is required to work up one patient. So it's not like you come in, do a scan, put him into a theater, cut him up. It's not like that at all.
No, in fact, when I left Chitra and when he left Chitra, went to Chennai Global Hospital, I came here to Vikram Hospital. The popular perception among many of our teachers was epilepsy surgery cannot be done in private sector
Really?
because of the commitment required, the team required. It's not just one man's job. So
And only a government institute or some central
all these
institute
things are possible only in the central institute.
and funding.
So setting up the team required didn't seem like a big challenge. It flowed naturally to us. I don't know why and how, but I can only tell that it happened naturally and it developed seamlessly into a good program.
So I tell you why and how, because he leaked the secret to me, when we were chatting. He said about the baptism by fire he had with Dr. Radhakrishna, his second professor, but how he came and set up that epilepsy unit there. And this guy was inside there.
Yeah.
And how, he was literally driven to make that happen.
It doesn't say we'll read the EEG. He'll say, let us talk to the brain.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh?
So it's a conversation we are having with the brain.
I love that. I love that.
So
Amazing.
let's talk to the brain.
That's a passionate person will do that because,
Amazing.
there's a conversation that's happening.
Amazing.
And it is telling you something.
Yeah.
The EEG is constantly telling you, hey, I'm anxious. You can see it. The EEG tells when the person is anxious.
Guru, your second
Sure.
guru you said was Professor Radhakrishnan
Yeah,
from Chittathurana.
I mean, Professor Radhakrishnan, I think I would consider him as the father of modern era of epilepsy surgery in the country.
Really?
Yes, because he's a driven man, and he is one of the best. He's considered as the best outgoing student of PGI Chandigarh so far ever,
Oh.
ever in the last 50 years of its
Amazing.
existence. And he's got probably the maximum number of publications by anybody in the country. And his citation index is the highest. And he's written and he's considered as one of the 10 best authors of neurology of any time.
Oh, wow.
Because
Globally?
Globally, yes. Because of the high, his citation index is so high. And the kind of thing. So, and he has covered every aspect of neurology.
Oh, not just
And
epilepsy.
No. In his
Oh.
publications, everything. So, before he became an epileptologist. So, the first 40 years of
So
his
he's
life.
got two, the pre-epilepsy avatar and
Yes.
the post-epilepsy
And then he
avatar.
went to Mayo Clinic for his fellowship in epilepsy and electrophysiology first, and then epilepsy, and then epidemiology first, like that. Because he's an epidemiologist of very highest standards. So, when he came back, he said, first thing when I went to Mayo, he had to unlearn his EEG. He had to unlearn and then learn at the age of about 40 or so. And then he came back, and I was in the second year of my training in neurology, DM. And he just came back from Mayo, and I was posted to electrophysiology. That was the first posting. And he was setting up the lab, the EEG lab, the EMG lab, and the video telemetry unit.
And so you were at the right place at the right time with the right person.
I was there. I was posted to that. So he would set up protocols, and he required a hand. Obviously, you can't do it on your own. I was there. That's it. So I've seen, preparing the first protocols of how an EEG should be recorded. All this, what we were talking about, an awake record for 20 minutes, sleep record like this, all that was.
So you got the perfect training.
And I did all the groundwork. I was articulating, or I was writing down, taking notes of the ideas that he was. And so that's the best learning. I mean, you're learning the practical aspects on a daily basis. And he said that when he joined on January 1st, 94, he said we have to do the first epilepsy surgery. He always is a time-driven person. So he said January 1995 should be the first epilepsy surgery. Which means that to generate the first epilepsy surgery, you have to have a video telemetry unit.
Correct.
The video telemetry unit was set up. We used to do 2 video EEGs a week. 3 days, one patient. Next 3 days, another patient. Sunday, no. And I had to report it, sitting with him. So the semiology, all that, how to read, how to interpret, how to do this. Then I will write the report, then show it. I was only in the second year, and I had that opportunity.
Amazing. I mean, I think it's God
And in
sent.
final year, when I was there, and then instead of January 95, the first surgery was done in March 95. And when I was passing out, he said, you have to stay back. You have to stay back. And for very little money, because there was no formal post. So I was there as some research assistant.
My goodness.
And we
Amazing.
had a young family. I was earning only some 9,000 rupees at that time.
All of us have gone through this.
All of us have gone through that phase.
I think so.
But
That's why
the
it makes
amount
us
of
so
skilling
strong.
the amount of skilling that took place, I don't think anybody else had that kind of this thing, because we were working about our patients and the protocols. And then I would go into the theatre. I'd be there for the ECG. I would follow up the patient in the post-op, the 3rd month EEG, the 1-year EEG, write up the. I mean, the first 100
So you know
cases,
the entire end-to-end journey
from end
of
to end, from history taking to 1-year follow-up. If you do it for 100 patients,
if you wake up in your sleep, you'll be able to.
I mean,
you'll be working at the pudendal level of God.
You become good.
I agree.
I mean, even a donkey can become good if so.
Not really, but
But that's the kind of
Correct.
training, the iteration.
Perfect.
And when I went and I decided that I should go to the UK to learn about intracranial work.
Before you come to that, so now he has spoken about his tryst with, Dr. Radhakrishnan and Sri Chitra, and you were also there. I'm not sure whether you guys were there at the same time. I'm not too sure.
yeah, we were together for a short while
Okay.
before he left Chitra.
But how did you get into epilepsy there? Was it the providence, or was it something that was calling you, or?
Yeah, that's again interesting. As I told you before, I passed out from NIMHANS,
Correct.
and I am eternally grateful to NIMHANS because the basic building block,
Correct.
microsurgery skills,
Correct.
were acquired in NIMHANS by very fine teachers who imparted that, Professor B.S. Das, Professor KVRS, and Professor Chandramouli. So learned the basic microsurgery skills required for doing many types of general neurosurgery were acquired there. And then I got a chance to move on to Sri Chitra as faculty. So once
you went into Chitra as faculty.
not as a student. So once I went into faculty, I already knew about Professor Radhakrishna. I knew Dinesh Nayak was working there. So it was always there at the back of my mind, if possible, I should get into epilepsy because that was upcoming and developing. And it looked very nice when Professor Radhakrishnan, we used to see him only in conferences or special lectures.
Correct.
So when he comes and talks about all that looked simple, but we knew that it's extremely difficult to do. So that at the back of the mind, there was always this wish that I get into epilepsy. And then my senior colleague there, Malla Bhaskar Rao, he went to UK at the same time as Dinesh Nayak went there. He also learned step by step, almost training by fire. Bhaskar Rao had to go through that. So he taught me the basic epilepsy surgeries, like temporal lobectomy, for example. So I got into the program because at that time it was temporal lobe heavy program.
Correct.
And then Dr. Herbert Sylvanius, a very famous Swedish neurosurgeon who had very good networking with Dr. Radhakrishnan. He came there to teach us hemispherotomy. So I learned hemispherotomy from him. So when you know these two basic techniques, temporal lobe surgery and hemispherotomy. Hemispherotomy you do through the ventricle. So you develop many skills required for doing any type of epilepsy surgery by learning about hemispherotomy.
Interesting.
So all the subsequent techniques were just a modification of the
one of these two.
hemispherotomy technique.
Interesting.
And another basic technique in epilepsy is subpial
Correct.
dissection, which you learn anyway in temporal lobe surgery. So it can be applied to many other lobes, many other disease processes, different types of disconnection.
Got it.
So that's how it began. as again a chance because Bhaskar Rao went to UK with Dinesh Nayak. I got the
It's
chance to be
amazing,
in
no?
that.
See how sometimes you think luck, fate, destiny, we use
Yeah.
different words to say, but somehow, if you have that thing in the back of your mind that they say the universe conspires to, make it happen.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
imagine you guys are officially together for 15 years doing this partnership in epilepsy surgery.
Yeah.
But how do and just like this, the Jai Viru Jodi, I keep telling about it,
No, the
So,
Yeah.
other important thing is he moved to Chennai.
Yeah.
Before moving to Chennai, he said, Ravi, you and I are going to work. I don't know how, but
guy
it's
said that,
going to
Yeah, I
happen.
said that.
So,
Then I moved to Bangalore. I
Imagine.
joined Vikram Hospital. Then soon after moving, he had already worked up. He moved ahead of me by 1 year, I think.
I also had that when I went to Chennai, I was new to the place, completely new. I was not from Chennai. I was from a small
Then what
town.
made you go to Chennai?
Well, that was because Dr. Parthiban, our colleague, neurosurgeon, he was moving into the same hospital. He
Oh.
said, Dinesh, you have to come.
Oh,
And so that's the reason. He said, we'll
And
set it up.
he moved ahead of me because he wanted to leave Chitra. At that point, I didn't want to leave Chitra. Then subsequently, I wanted to leave Chitra and come back to Bangalore. Like,
you had your
no,
social
they wanted
challenges.
to be with our friends, families, and people, that kind of a thing. So
Interesting.
I had to come back to Bangalore because of that. And that happened 1 year later.
So this the Sholay song goes like this. Ye dosti humne hi chodenge. So that's how I think you guys have not left each other.
Yeah.
In spite of everybody
All the
wanting
odds.
to separate you guys and
In
everything
spite of
else.
all the odds.
All
The odds. The odds
And
are so much.
the
stacked
important
against.
thing is we knew each other's skills and capabilities. I knew him as an epileptologist. He knew
Par
me as
excellence.
a epilepsy surgeon. So there was no hesitation on our part to collaborate because we could trust each other. And
The trust.
from then,
That's the
it
key
developed.
word he used. Trust, guys. The key word in any partnership to work is unconditional trust. That he'll look at my back, I look at his back. I don't think we should worry at all about it. And I think that's what the viewers should understand.
Correct.
And you two highly accomplished professionals. Each of you could have made it by yourself. And each of you could have said, I'm better than you, you are better than me.
Yeah.
But you have chosen to have this mutual respect. It's like a mutual, I know both of you equally well. So it's like a mutual admiration society that I can see as a third party.
Yeah, I think
I've never at any point of time seen each of you saying, Dinesh doesn't know this, things like this. Or, Ravi listens to me. It's amazing, how, and that will not come, see, you guys may say something, but we as external guys, we see that. And which is why I thought both of you should be here together.
I think it's a very good point.
Because, so that the world can see that, sometimes egos get in, selfishness comes in, greed gets in, so much things come in. And to keep it going for 15 years and be as passionate as you guys are and as you were in the beginning, I mean, it speaks volumes of each of you, and what you have done. And I think as a friend of both of you, I must thank you because I have learned a lot from how to build, good partnerships going through like this.
No, the main thing is epilepsy surgery is called as comprehensive epilepsy surgery program. When you do both medical and surgical aspects together,
Okay.
along with other things which
Correct.
are
The
required.
supports.
And that cannot happen without a team.
Correct.
So if you say that you are the main part, it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out.
So it has to be a partnership by...
I mean, it can be done. That's the first thing. That's what
you said. 2 cities, 2 institutes. I don't know which of you made the statement.
we are from
2 institutes, 2 corporate institutes, not
Yes.
and to really make it happen in this,
Yes.
the what is it, the push and pull, the rigmarole of daily Bangalore traffic to Chennai weather to everything else.
Yeah.
No, not only that. He more or less remained in the same corporate hospital in Chennai except for moving to Fortis for a short while. For me, I changed 3 hospitals.
Yeah, you chose 3.
And each hospital I moved to, I made a proposal
Yeah.
saying I have to go there because this predated
Hmm.
anything that has happened here. So we have a long-running program, and all the corporate hospitals
Yeah, they
supported
agreed.
that. They never
Appreciate.
said you
Which-
can't do
yeah,
that.
it's
Which
amazing.
means that, if you're reasonable, they'll be
Yes.
reasonable. It's
Yes,
not
I
that,
agree.
I think
And if
it's
you're
the
authentic, if you're
authentic.
yeah,
That
if you're
word
authentic,
authenticity
yes, I
is
think
very
so.
important. There
I
should
think
be a
so.
ring of authenticity
Yes,
to what
they
you
know that there's no commercial motive behind what you're driven to
Exactly.
do, and there's this
I think that's the
social.
point.
I
Yeah,
think so.
it's also a social
It's amazing. I mean,
responsibility that we have, and I think
uh,
that's something that we have kind of worked out.
true,
I think otherwise it's impossible.
true.
Do this over and over again, month after month, year after year, and
Yeah,
still
again,
continue
yeah,
to
continue
do.
to do it.
That requires a lot of.
I agree. I agree. I think that's incredible. So now we are entering the last phase of pre-surgical evaluation. You had said phase 2, coming back to epilepsy. You said that sometimes if there's a discordance or there's not complete concordance, things like that, you guys want to do your homework correctly so that to make sure you maximize the benefit and minimize the side effect of anything that we do. So you said we need to do depth electrodes, and that coincided with your learning that you had with Dr. Professor Binny at UK, and how you got so strong in electrophysiological waves. I think today, even in the sleep, you can read the waves. I think,
Yeah, I
I
think.
like a back of the hand. I remember Ravi telling about how, Dinesh reads the
No,
EEG, video EEG.
No, their approach. For
Yeah.
example, Herbert Sylvanius,
Mm,
he doesn't say we'll read the EG.
mm.
He'll say let us talk to the brain.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh?
So it's a conversation we are having with the brain.
I love that. I love that.
So
Amazing.
let's talk to the brain.
That's a passionate person will do that because
Amazing.
there's a conversation that's happening
Amazing.
and it is telling you something.
Yeah.
The EEG is constantly telling you, "Hey, I'm anxious." You can see it. The EEG tells when the person is anxious, when the person is relaxed, when the person is relaxing, and then stressing. Everything you can make out.
Amazing.
So if you're passionate enough, it is there for you to read. And that is something that we have. I think we are fortunate that we have, spent a lot of time with the true masters of the game, and I think that's a very important. So mentoring is a very very
I agree.
important point
True.
that we have to.
No, but guys, one thing, don't give all the credit to the mentors. The mentee is also equally important, Like they always say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, because
Really good.
if whenever Dr. Professor Silius came and you were not ready,
Yeah,
don't you think there were another 50 neurosurgeons in Chitra at that time? Why only you took it up?
that's a good one. That's a
That's the reality of the process, because this is a democratic place. Everybody has access to the same people. No, you're not hiding him there and saying, I'm only going to get taught by him. He's
No,
not going to take you
whoever
on.
had the exposure at that time learnt it. Dr. Girish was doing epilepsy with me at that time.
Perfect.
So he also learnt
But,
the same thing which I was able to learn from Dr. Herbert Sylvanius. So that is there.
correct. No, that's what I mean to say.
Yeah,
Those
but-
few people, but if
Correct.
you know he was coming, it's like that.
It's a
I
wonderful.
think, it's like that.
Yeah.
So it's great. So now you learned about intracranial like electrodes. So you said that at that time India was not doing depth electrodes. Very few people were doing depth electrodes.
No, not very few. There was nothing.
Nothing. I
Yeah.
see.
Because you see, in 1999, I had just written to Professor Binny. I just wrote I just wrote an email to him and I said that I'm interested in this and I sent him my CV till then, and he read the CV. Your CV looks very impressive, and you should definitely come. I'll be glad, but there's no funding, unfortunately, at this point in time. So could you get some funding from some source? And he gave me some 3-4 sources and all that. And some British embassy and all that, some kind of thing. It didn't work out. And then I applied for this P.N. Berry scholarship. And I got the scholarship. I got the scholarship for a year. It was for a year. And the idea is that you go there, get trained in whatever area of interest you have, and then come back. You have to come back to India. That was the precondition. It's a precondition, and it is dispersed by the Indian High Commission. Oh yes. It's by the Indian High Commission. So you go to the Indian High Commission, And
I
you get
didn't know
invited to
something like
all
this
these
existed.
Indian Eye. You get invited to the Indian Eye Commission on Republic Day, Independence Day,
Oh,
and you get to go to Buckingham Palace and meet the Queen.
whoa!
Yes, because you're a
Fringe
scholar.
benefits. Fringe benefits.
The fringe benefits. Yeah, so
Interesting.
so it is. Yeah, so it is. Of course, it's just a basic scholarship, money enough for one person, but that's more than enough. And I applied and I got in, and I went there, and I completed that. And when I went in, Professor Benny told me, for you, it's best that you're with another chap who's there, Dr. Gonzalo Alarcon, who's a specialist in all this. So I just, he told me, that first thing he wrote was, don't come for 3 months and all that. Vinny, if you come, please come for a year. Do something meaningful.
Mm.
Don't come for 3 months. That's another lesson that I learned. All these 1 month, many people come for 1 month and all
True,
that. No, that's
true,
of no use. You got to spend some time
True.
to understand what is happening. So I did that.
Interesting.
Got involved in, you know what? The project that I got was the evolution from sphenoidal electrodes that they used to put it from here. They evolved to foramen ovale electrodes going through the foramen ovale. Then they started doing subdural grids and strips, and then they went into depths. And my job was to compare the yield of sphenoidal to foramen ovale to subdural. What are the differences? What are how the electrical fields
I
are?
think you are born to be.
And then,
I think
so 1989 sphenoidal, 1991 foramen ovale, 1997 onwards subdurals, from 1999 onwards depths,
and that's when you were there.
and 2000 I was there.
Amazing.
And and they were so impressed by my work. They said, you go back to India, come back. So I went back, I came back. And they gave me extension for 2 more years.
Amazing.
And they found some funding which was more than the funding that was already there. So I after that I lived relatively comfortably and generated at least 3 very important basic electrophysiology papers that came out in very good journals. What I'm trying to tell is, it's not this thing, but the amount of knowledge that was acquired.
It shaped you to pick up those small, fine
And
things.
at that time, many people were asking me, why are you... I mean, this is of not much relevance in our country. I said, no, it's nothing. You create the relevance.
Correct.
You create the relevance.
True.
And when the relevance started appearing, we are there ready.
In fact, since you said that, in a lighter vein, there was this man, Professor Paul Zane Pilzer. He's a world famous economist, and he wrote 2 books. One is called The Wellness Revolution. He wrote it in the year 2000, and he says in that book, if the R&D of a pharmaceutical company discovers 2 drugs, one is a $10 drug that cures the cold forever, and one is a $1 drug that only controls the symptoms of cold, guess which they will market? The $1 drug. The same guy wrote one more book called The Next Billionaires. He said the last 2 decades of 2000, it's 1990s and 2000, who became billionaires are people who found a need in the market and fixed it. Like the Amazons, the Jeff Bezos and all of those people. He says the next 20-30 years will be people who will create a need in the market and fix it. So you're saying exactly that. When stenting came for the first time, it didn't exist.
Yeah.
So now here you are a visionary right now who saw the future of what was needed rather than the past was what was happening. And that, as scientists, the only thing we should do is to be better than yesterday, be better than what I did the previous day. And I think it fits in very clearly into that. What was your tryst with depth electrodes? How did you get in the SCEGs? And can you tell our viewers how and what's the importance of this?
We were planning to do depth electrodes. Dinesh Nayak made a short shift to Bangalore in
I remember that.
2013. 2009 he had gone to Chennai. 2013 he shifted.
You told me he's trying to
Bangalore.
shift.
So we were planning to do our depth electrodes.
That
That
time
didn't
itself.
work out. And then We started doing it in Chennai. I started doing it with him. So it was a slightly painful process because you have to learn it like Ekalavya. There was no Dronacharya for me for depth electrodes. So at that time, Amrita had started, though we had planned much before Amrita.
Yeah, we would have
We
been
could
the
do it only after Amrita
pioneers.
started doing. And then our neuronavigation was not fully supporting depth electrode placement at that time when we started doing. Then subsequently, the software was modified to support that. And then it became much easier to do.
What do you mean by
depth
depth electrodes? What is the significance?
These are thin, long electrodes which are implanted through a very small opening in the skull called a twist drill.
Okay.
We do a very small opening, put a bolt there. Through the bolt, it's inserted into the brain.
How many such electrodes do you insert on an average? And
It can be 12, 14. So you have to implant the network. You don't implant just one or two. So you determine your hypothesis is most important.
Coming back to the same thing.
The most important thing in depth electrode is hypothesis, hypothesis, hypothesis. So it has to be as good as it can get. And based on that hypothesis, you implant depth electrodes. The reason could be MRI is normal. But you have lateralized the epilepsy, but you can't tell exactly where from it's
Which
coming.
part of the brain to remove, for example.
So for that you implant the network. Second, there may be...
So there's a discordance between the clinical hypothesis to the electrophysiology to the MRI. Is that how
MRI negative?
That's what MRI negative. That's
so
when
electrophysiology and
clinical is matching.
But
this is not.
There is not much
you could see
evidence to tell this is involved in MRI.
So as a surgeon, then it becomes impossible for you to get in blindly.
So we need more proof.
Correct.
We implant depth electrodes. There can be discordance inside. For example, you have right temporal lobe epilepsy clinically, electrophysiologically, and there is left MTS in the MRI. So that is discordance.
Correct.
So then you have to put in both temporal lobes to see where it's coming
from. So sometimes
you
put bilaterally, sir.
Bilateral.
At the same sitting.
Because the temporal lobe epilepsy can very rapidly spread from one side to the other side.
Okay.
So that is another situation. We have used it in the early part of our depth electrodes when we find small dysplasias. They have been reported as normal in the big epilepsy centers in India. Then you say, no, we can do surgery and cure you. Then the patient will say, I want more proof that it can be cured. Or it comes into your mind itself. We need more pure proof.
Is this lesion really responsible for the epilepsy?
Correct. So that was in the early part. As our understanding improved, you acquire knowledge from various other centers, pioneers in depth electrodes like French centers. They were the pioneers in the world. So they have a lot of publications. You go through that. And then as your confidence develops, you don't use depth electrodes for the situations which we were using earlier. But our indications have changed now.
Oh, to what?
To really prove concordance. Bilateral occipital gliosis, for example, neonatal hypoglycemia. Both occipital lobes are damaged.
Which side is coming, you should need to
find. And if you find that, you have a reasonable pre-implantation, that means before you implant, if you have a reasonable hypothesis that majority or almost all of us, the seizures are coming from one side, whichever be the side, then you could go ahead with implanting both sides and prove that all the seizures are coming. Say, supposing you record 10 seizures and 9 are coming from one side, only one of them is coming from the other side, you could still offer surgery.
Then you have motor cortex lesions, you have language area lesions. You have to operate on them. So you implant depth electrodes all around, do the brain mapping, also record the ictal onset zone. So depth electrode allows you to tell what is the ictal onset zone. That means seizures are starting from there.
So you mean to say that, ictal onset zone means now they should have seizures when they have these electrodes, and now you're similar to a video EEG, you're doing the same thing.
Yes. You're connecting it to the video EEG.
You're connecting.
If you don't record a seizure, depth electrode has failed.
Useless. Perfect. That's the message. So just putting a depth electrode doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You have to capture the seizure,
Seizure.
make sure the network is covered in that
Your
thing.
implantation should be
Should
correct.
pro-
Before that, your hypothesis should be spot on. You
So
should
many,
implant according
so
to
No,
the
and the
hypothesis.
second aspect of depth electrode is one is to record the seizures which
Hmm.
are generated spontaneously by the brain itself. And the second, the very important aspect of this thing is that you electrically stimulate the brain
Oh, you can, okay. Correct.
and
You do that.
then
Something like
induce
DBS.
and provoke a seizure.
You provoke a seizure.
Yes, you think that okay, this is where the seizure. Okay, from
you
this
where you
contact,
think that electrode is
yes,
sitting
and
on
then
the,
you
at the
pass
focus.
you pass small currents.
Hypothesis is correct. If you stimulate at 1 milliampere, the current travels 1 millimeter. So within that zone, the ictal onset zone should be there.
That's
If
how
you
precise
use
you should
4
be.
milliamperes, 5
Ah.
milliamperes to elicit a seizure, that
Got
means
it.
you are wrong.
So you are far away from that.
Yeah, so you can be so accurate if you electrically stimulate a habitual seizure, which mimics the actual seizure both clinically as well as
Electrophysiologically.
electrophysiologically. That means you're on the spot.
On the spot. So, how long do you keep this electrodes? This is quite a lot of hard work you have to do. So, how long
We
is
are
it
kept
normal?
for 21 days or 14,
For your
15
case,
days.
14 days up to
14,
15 days.
15
Okay.
days.
So, you can keep it for that long until you are
can.
convinced, all of you are convinced that there's
So
another
these are-
level of conviction that you will get a
Most of the time
confirmation.
we finish it off by about a week or so.
A week. At least a week it has
Because
to be
you
there.
need to record enough number of seizures. Second point is that you have to do the functional mapping of the entire network, and that gives you a lot of insights into how each part of the brain, what are the functions of each part.
Amazing. See, what's happening now as I'm hearing both of you is not only does the neurologist and the neurosurgeon have to have patience, the family also patient, family
Exactly.
also,
This is the
because they're
point.
saying, how long, doctor, you're going on and on with your
Exactly. And not
evaluation,
very-
what is
It's,
going on, you know?
It's
So,
very scary
yes,
because
yeah,
you have
this-
14 arrows piercing your head. It's a very scary thought. And amazingly, they are ready to do that. And most of the patients cooperate through this very. It looks difficult to me. I'm doing it, but it looks difficult to me. And I don't know how they are feeling about it, but they go through
hope.
that.
That's what he said. Because he sees in both of you somebody a ray of hope that probably this will get solved and I can get. That's why they endure all of these things, because with the hope that the future is brighter.
Thing, yes, and that's the kind of hope that we have to give.
And not a false hope.
It's not
an
a false
honest,
hope.
An
And
honest
it's-
hope that is
and
coming
they
from
can
your
make out that
experience,
what-
with your wisdom,
Yeah.
and with your whatever is going on
Yeah.
that you have seen from the past and from all the experts in the field. and
Yeah,
things
so
like
it's
that.
actually a combination of science and also of of conviction.
I
and
agree.
Things like that.
Science
There's-
and art also. Art
Yes,
of
it's
art
a
in
lot of
sense.
art.
So, in fact, just to say, we have seen that the energy around the patient, I don't know whether you guys believe in energy, but we have seen, if there's a positive energy, positive result, negative energy, negative result in
Absolutely
anybody that
true.
happens.
Absolutely.
I think energy plays magical role
Magical
even in
role.
this. When people
very
have this, listen, doctor, I trust you. Then when they feel that, then you suddenly, the whole thing comes. Every step they are doubting you, that also becomes an issue.
It becomes a burden on
See,
you.
I've
In
seen,
fact,
when you open the bandage after a surgery second day, everybody wants to know whether the wound is healing. 50% say, is the wound healing well? 50% is there pus? Pus is a negative word. And promptly, because that whole that,
he's thinking of pus and the pus
uh-huh.
is going to come.
So I tell them, if you go into the exam thinking, will I remember this? You'll forget. What you know also forget.
Absolutely.
So it is so critical for us to understand all of these things. I tell everybody, see, boss, the energy for me is more important. If you create too much negative energy, I won't operate you. You go where you want to go, because Murphy's law, something will happen that should not be happening. because
Doubting
that-
Thomases.
Yeah, it's like that. So that's the other thing. I'm not saying that, guys, we are gods. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is there has to be a mutual. They have trust, you should have the doctor-patient trust. Family trust, I
There
think,
should
is
be a
fundamental.
sincerity of purpose.
Yeah.
There
No,
should
it
be
has to
trust.
be a two-way dialogue
Yes.
at all stages.
Yes. And
And,
honest,
there should be very good understanding of what they are getting into.
correct.
And at every step, we have to have their cooperation.
Yeah. That
Otherwise
automatically
it's-
brings me to the next step is, how do you set expectations? Now that you have done all of this, see, now I said, if I do all of this, What am I getting back is the patient's question. You set an expectation. Are you going to be seizure free?
Oh.
Are you going to have this? That's an expectation of surgical post-op expectation.
Yeah.
How do you set an expectation? In a sense, to the family and the patient, is there certain things that you say? How do you first, let's say, as a surgeon, what will you say?
To bring them to the operating table, it's in my case, it's job of Dr. Dinesh Nayak and Dr. Sujit. And both of them, as you know, are bubbly.
I
call
agree.
them bubbly.
I agree.
So they are able to radiate this positive atmosphere and hope to the patient that eventually they turn up to me. Unfortunately, when they come to me, I have to talk about risks also. You can't do it without
I agree.
talking about
I
risks.
agree.
And both Dinesh and Sujit say, we'll do it. Don't worry. But unfortunately, I have to be the bad boy sometimes to
absolutely.
tell, see, these problems are there.
Correct.
So
and which is real. As theoretical
Absolutely.
it is real.
Absolutely.
It's not that it happens in everybody, but it's real. Like if you get into a bus, there's a risk of an accident.
Sure.
I mean, you can't say that I will never have an accident.
Correct.
And
Correct.
it's theoretical but
we
real.
had a 5-month-old child which we operated together, had a posterior quadrant disease, very young child.
Yeah.
In Chennai.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 months left side.
Left side, yeah.
Yeah, and about possible language involvement. Though 6 years, till the age of 6 years, language is not fixed.
Correct.
But still, 5-month-old child to undergo. That's another thing which I want to tell. When there is a surgical syndrome, there is no need to wait for 2 years.
What do you mean by surgical syndrome?
Like posterior quadrant dysplasia,
which you can...
hemimegalencephaly.
There's no point.
Focal...
earlier the better. Not only no point waiting,
there
earlier
is a
the better.
surgical syndrome, you know, by thousands of papers, published in the literature, and also your own personal experience, that seizures are never going to be controlled. There can be lulls. There can be periods in which the seizure frequency may diminish. But again, invariably,
it flares up.
Got it.
So
when you have a surgical syndrome, you don't have to wait.
And
we have done many patients less than 1 year of age with these surgical syndromes.
Amazing.
I want to preserve the brain. He wants to remove the brain. So there is one song by Lo Biga. Have you heard it? Little bit of Monica, little bit of Clara, like that the song goes.
Oh, I haven't heard this song.
So remove brain means you want a little bit of
this
other things too.
Little bit. So I say, okay, let's remove a little bit, half a centimeter more.
So guys, what both of experts are trying to say is every millimeter, sub-millimeter of the brain is important. But yet, to be too conservative and leaving it behind out of panic will not create the result that you want.
That's exactly the point.
So that is why they have to fight. They're not fighting because something else is going on. The argument is going on in the patient's interest, not in either of their interests, because they want to make sure they're literally there, because every half a millimeter can make a big difference in seizure freedom, medicine freedom versus something in between. So as an epileptologist, so how do you set expectations?
See,
so as a functional neurosurgeon, I always tell my team, under promise, over deliver. It's an important thing I tell them, because sometimes their expectation become too high. Is that what you follow? You have to say the other thing.
Correct.
How do you set?
He follows Professor Badrinath.
The retinal surgeon.
You see, the problem with in epilepsy specifically is that you got to, unfortunately, you'll have to promise them
seizure freedom.
I mean, not unfortunately, I wouldn't use the word unfortunate, sorry about that. But I think you should give them a fairly high chance of, like hope that, you'll become seizure free. And unless you tell that, if you tell that, there's a 70% chance or 50% chance of you becoming seizure free, but there's a significant improvement in quality of life, our patients are not that this thing. And you know that they are going to become all right. You have that sense. And
so you've done all this workup.
Because you've done all this workup and you're sure. And then to kind of tell them that, we can, promise you about 70% reduction. No, they're very reluctant to come on the table. That's one of the problems. So I think I don't know whether that's the right thing, but I would tell that yes, I mean we can make you all right. That's what I would.
So I think, like in functional neurosurgery for movement disorders, if you select the right case correctly, I think the promise of success is much higher.
Yeah.
Than if you, because doing the right surgery on the wrong patient will not give you the result that you want.
Exactly. So
Correct. No,
I
because you
think,
have to know, you may have done the perfect disconnection,
and
but if it's not the right circuit to disconnect,
and
you're not going to get
in
what
the
you want.
majority of the patients that we have done, we have been very successful most of the time, almost all the time. There have been some failures which any center,
Yes.
because we get some of the most difficult ones.
Yes, I can imagine.
But the most important point is that these failures also come to us.
No,
They don't
that's
go.
one other amazing thing
Amazing
I've
aspect.
seen.
Mm, mm.
These patients go through a very difficult time where they have to be evaluated, they have to try anticonvulsants, they have to see that it's not working, and then they have to spend money for, if they have insurance, fine. Otherwise, they have to spend
Out of
money on
pocket.
the various investigations, which in the case of stereo EEG, unfortunately, these are all very expensive tests. And there is no other way of doing it in our country, and these patients otherwise cannot be treated. So that is another factor which reduces the reach of epilepsy surgery among
I
the
remember
general
you telling me
population.
this because you were actually yeah, trying to get these electrodes done locally. If you remember, there was a point of time.
That
So through this podcast, I'm appealing to all our, very smart engineers, institutes like IISc, IITs. Guys, these are real life problems that you have to solve. Please cut down costs. You have to help us by, I call it Gobi Manchurianizing the business, by making it local, jugaad. Because if you help us to reduce the cost, we can deliver, it
Yeah,
in
much, much
a
more.
much more way. So
No,
it's so
the
unfortunate that.
problem, Sharan, is not in developing the technology. I
Hmm,
think that can be done.
hmm,
The problem is in commercializing it, marketing it. It has to be produced in sufficient quantities for the cost to be low, and it has to be widely used in the country. So we discussed this some time ago in this podcast, that there are not many centers doing it.
hmm.
So the volumes are less for any one particular country. So the point I want to make is most of the companies which make these electrodes make it for the entire world. They don't make it for a particular country. And that is what drives the cost also a little high, because
No, I think somewhere you should not have only the commercial interest in mind. Some of these things should be done at cost. That's where the government comes in, or some
no, but
non-governmental
then
organization.
a pure government job manufacturing electrodes again may not materialize.
I think what
Anyway.
you say is absolutely right, and I think we now need to create a market for it.
Yeah.
And now, I think, in my opinion, now what is happening now is that there is sufficient momentum now for commercialization for a locally manufactured
Electrodes, huh?
electrodes, because you manufacture this thing. I'm sure it's going to be used more frequently
I think we should.
in people
See,
who
even for me, when I
require
do my
it.
functional neurosurgery, we need those electrodes. So
Yes.
maybe
So
if you show additional uses and things
yes,
like that, I'm
yes,
also struggling
yes,
the same way for radio frequency for the movement disorders. We are trying to.
yes.
I think maybe you have to sort of
So I
join
think
hands and look at
I
that.
think it is now the right time for the local make in India project
Let's see, because
to
with
come
the
in, because there is now momentum that is building up.
and with the government looking at Viksit Bharat 2047, make in India, make for the
Yes,
world.
yeah, make for
See,
the world.
they start
You can do,
look at
they
at
can
least for
market it
the
in the Asian
Africa,
countries,
Asian
African
countries and things
countries,
like
and
that.
all
Then
that.
maybe we can do that. So
So
I
I
think that's a project that we should look offline and see if we can really impact it, because they will need
because
people like us
moment
definitely to
the
participate.
cost comes down,
Like he
we
said,
can
reach will
actually
go
go.
up and
Reach
more
will
people
go.
will can afford
There's
it.
no
And the
doubt
same
about
way,
it.
I think we have to cut down costs. There's no
And,
question about that. So let's move to surgery. Let's change gears and go into surgery now. So everything is done. Expectations are set. Everybody understands the surgery has to be done. The day of the surgery has come. Patient is in the operation theater. So as a surgeon, so how do you? I see that skull next to you lying there, which you use very effectively to explain. So can you show our viewers how do you use that fellow next to you to talk to them to say what happens?
So it's quite simple actually. if you think about it conceptually,
Mm-hmm.
this is the brain model.
Okay.
So if
Well, what
you-
did you remove? Hold on. You removed something there. So you're showing them
that's
how
the
you.
top of the skull called
Okay.
as the calvarium.
Correct. So you tell
So
them that you don't open so much for every
no,
patient.
no.
Yeah, you just
We
open what
just do
bits.
a small
You open
opening
only
based
bits.
on the need.
The
So
area
if
that
you-
has to be exposed.
Since this is a model, you can do a hemicraniectomy.
Correct.
But in a patient, we do a small targeted craniotomy.
Correct.
And this is the frontal lobe,
Mm-hmm.
temporal lobe,
Mm-hmm.
occipital lobe,
Mm-hmm.
parietal lobe.
Mm-hmm.
All the gyri in the brain are flat, lying horizontal.
Hmm.
Horizontal means from front to back.
Mm-hmm.
Only two gyri go from top to bottom.
Mm.
That's the motor and the
Sensory.
sensory cortex.
Mm.
So you can have epilepsy coming from a small part of any part of the brain. So that being the case, then you are doing surgery with a curative intent.
Mm.
So you remove that small focus which is causing an electrical. Epilepsy is nothing but an electrical disturbance.
Correct.
So brain is an electrical organ. So here there is a lesion which is causing an electrical disturbance which is spreading to rest of the brain like a storm. You remove that small focus.
Mm.
That is curative.
Mm.
The patient seizure stopped if you do the surgery properly to remove all the
Mm.
anatomically and electrically abnormal part of the brain.
Mm.
Patient is cured. Sometimes you can have both seizures coming from right and left part of the brain in an entity called as Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, for example,
Okay.
where the children have injurious drops.
Falls.
They just fall down, hit their head, have head
Injurious
injuries.
head injuries.
In fact, you can recognize any of these children, at least in the Western world, they'll be wearing a helmet even when they are sitting and walking around. And he has several photographs in his clinic of patients hitting and banging the head, breaking the glass, and all that. So they are called as drop attacks.
Correct.
Because they are coming from
drop
both,
attacks. Yeah.
because they are coming from both sides of the brain, you can't do curative surgery. You have to do palliative surgery.
Okay.
So that
So there are two types of epilepsy surgery: curative and palliative. Yeah.
Palliative means you control the most damaging aspect of the seizure
Seizure.
semiology. In this case, being drops.
Mm.
So you disconnect the right and left brain.
Oh.
So they are connected together at a center here. This is called as the corpus callosum.
Correct. Corpus callosum.
White matter.
So you cut the
tract.
corpus callosum, the right and left brain become, normally they talk to each other.
Correct.
So when you separate the right and left brain, the drop attacks 100% drop.
Oh.
So that is very beneficial to the patient. There is another alternative called as vagal nerve stimulation, VNS.
Correct.
But that is not fully effective.
Mm.
So 30% of patients show very good response. And another 30% may show partial response. 30% don't respond at all. For drop attacks, and that costs lakhs of rupees for a patient with battery replacement every 2-3 years and all that. So if you do a corpus callosotomy for life, they'll be free of drop attacks. And at least in our cases, we have seen, because these patients are cognitively impaired also, there is no drop in cognition following a corpus callosotomy. So then you can have lesion which involves the entire hemisphere. So you have to disconnect that hemisphere from the other hemisphere and the brainstem. That's called as a hemispherotomy.
How do you, is it a functional hemispherotomy?
Functional hemispherotomy. So we go through the ventricle and disconnect the whole brain from the brainstem and the other side hemisphere.
Got it.
So it's a technical procedure, but eminently doable, and with almost zero mortality and very good results for hemimegalencephaly. Because this abnormal brain will not have much function.
Correct.
And it will prevent the other brain from developing function in a child. So once you disconnect the hemisphere, the other brain starts developing, the child's personality changes.
Interesting. So I just want to add here, there is a very famous, I think, neuropsychologist called Professor Norman Deutsch, who written books on neuroplasticity. And in that book, he gives one story of a 16-year-old girl who had absolutely normal childhood, normal milestones, playing, doing whatever it is. At the age of 16, she got a headache. and they did a scan for the headache, and they found that one half of the calvarium was empty.
Huh?
She only had half the brain. Okay, and the moral of the story is you can live with half the brain.
That's an
Which is what
interesting
Ravi
part.
is saying, which means that because right from day one she didn't have that. One side of the brain has taken over both functions, which is what also you're giving the communication here right now
Fantastic.
by saying that if the damaged, the dysfunctional brain is disconnected to stop harming the normal side of the brain, the normal side can more than take over a function and
Correct.
take care of that. I think
I wouldn't exactly say that half a brain is enough.
I'm just
But in these children, there is no option.
correct.
Either they have to live through that devastating epilepsy caused by hemispheric lesions, or seek an option where the seizure stops
True.
and their cognitive development begins. They may not be as good as other children,
But they'll be
but-
better than what they were.
but we
Oh,
have several
very much better.
videos. We have videos showing children going to school now instead of being at home, almost homebound, with a caregiver always by their side. Now they are independent, able to go to school, start learning.
So they're all part of neuroplasticity only. I think it's
It's neuroplasticity.
yes.
And in a scenario where you have no option, half a brain is much better
True.
than having a diseased other side brain.
And which is spreading the abnormal electrical current to this side and harming it,
Yeah,
So I think that disconnecting that is, I think, is an equally important thing.
absolutely.
So during surgery, now you had mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that ECOG. You casually mentioned the phrase ECOG. So ECOG for our viewers is electrocorticogram. So now we heard about EEG, which is on the scalp, which is non-invasive. Then they spoke about depth electrodes, where they put things inside the brain. Now, then you spoke about subdural electrodes. Now you're talking ECOG. Now, can you say first, and then he said, what is this ECOG? What is it different? Where is it used? And things like that. And he also mentioned one more thing. What is structurally abnormal and what is electrophysiologically abnormal brain I have to remove? So can you throw some light on this whole thing?
Yeah, that's a good point. ECOG or electrocorticography, that means you're recording the electrical activity directly from the cortex
Of the brain.
Cortex.
Physically.
Yeah.
And this can only happen when you're on the brain.
Yeah, but there are two aspects to ECOG. One is called extraoperative electrocorticography.
Okay.
That means you have put in electrodes on the brain surface, that is the subdural, or depth electrodes inside the brain itself, and then recording. Right? So that is called extraoperative. Then you implant them and take them out of the operation theater and then connect them to the video EEG machine, and then you are recording electrical activity directly from the brain. That is so that means it's a extraoperative electrocorticography.
Got it.
There you map all these things, and then like what we discussed.
Which we spoke, yeah.
Now, then you have once you have decided to, okay, these are the regions that I'm going to operate. This is the focus I'm going to operate, but I have to study not only that area, but the surrounding area. On the table when the
During
operation
surgery,
is going on. So that is what is called as intraoperative electrocorticography.
Got it.
So you have extraoperative, which means you implant electrodes and then come out of the theater and then record it for days, weeks, whatever it is. And intraoperative.
Got it.
So that's what we do.
So what he mentioned was ECOG.
Intraoperative.
And,
ECOG.
To explain it, the model, if you take the temporal lobe, you have to remove the temporal lobe because it's a temporal lobe epilepsy. So before removing, you do ECOG. After removing at the margin, you do ECOG. If the margin still shows significant electrical activity of sparking from the brain, you have to remove that extra little bit of tissue. This, of course, you can do when you are operating on the non-eloquent brain. Eloquent brain, you can't keep extending. So if you are in the frontal pole or part of the frontal lobe which doesn't have language, and after surgery, you say the margin is still firing, then you have to remove that extra bit of tissue.
Which is the electrophysiological excision.
This is the electrical abnormal brain.
Got it.
Which structurally may look normal.
Now, these patients are generally under anesthesia, GA for this. So, do you have to change the type of anesthesia to record a ECOG so that the anesthesia also plays a big role in these
Yes,
surgeries?
yes. Anesthetic agents in general depress brain activity.
Correct.
So they are given intravenous anesthesia in the form of what is the drug propofol,
Correct.
and the dose is kept at a lower level.
Minimum, so that we can pick it up.
So the electrical activity can be optimally recorded.
Correct.
So
So that
that's very
yeah,
important.
it's very
Anesthesia is part of
It's not like a routine
epilepsy
anesthesia.
surgery.
Anybody can
Yeah.
come in,
No,
give
Where
anesthesia.
the depth of anesthesia
So now
is
you have
too
added
high.
one more person to the mix now. You finished
exactly.
the neurologist,
The expert,
neurosurgeon, technologist, neuroradiologist. Now you have the neuroanesthetist who's coming, who
Neuroanesthetist.
understands
Very, very
epilepsy
important.
surgery.
Yes.
So many pieces in
So
this
it's
puzzle.
a big team.
Big. Everybody has to be equally
Everybody has
motivated.
to be equally involved. That's a very important point.
I
And
think
equally
so.
skilled.
Yeah, equally
It is
skilled.
not one
Yeah,
person who's very
exactly.
skilled and the others are
Because
just
you are
ordinary.
banking on others to give you the
It's-
feedback. You can't be,
you-
batting for them and things
that's
like
the
this.
point.
Each player has to bat up to his potential and beyond that to give you the right feedback at the right time.
Yeah.
So that the right decisions can be made. So ECOG is happening, and what role does a neurologist play in the? I have seen him in the OT. Jumping on. I know how you call Dinesh in the OT. Dinesh, where are you? What's going on? Because Ravi wants to make sure the right circuit. So
I'll tell you.
does Ravi scare you sometimes in the OT when he says that? Or you're
See,
worried if he
I
doesn't
was
say?
telling about the butterflies in the stomach earlier. Every time Ravi is there is always some butterfly hanging around in the stomach. It's very important. We have to feel like that because
No, I
working
never
on
knew that I had this kind of effect on Dinesh. I assumed it's natural.
No, but a little bit of stress,
is
Ravi,
very, very
actually
important.
improves performance.
Very much. If it's too
to keep
relaxed,
this-
too
yeah,
laid
yeah.
back,
So it's not,
mistakes
there's
are
nothing.
made.
Yeah, there's
we
nothing wrong in
we
that.
never allow anything to chance. And
We are in the hot seat. We
Yeah.
are we can't go back and undo anything that we have done
yeah,
as neurosurgeons.
you see the interpretation of the recording.
Mm.
See, you put the electrode on the brain surface and then you record the activity. But the interpretation requires a lot of experience and expertise. That is
Are the waves different from what you?
yeah, the waves are different.
Because you are
From-
directly recording,
You're directly
from
recording on the brain,
surface.
and then there's some
So-
modification by the in operative
Correct,
environment
correct.
and the medication and all that. So it's a little different. So you have to have a very good idea what we call as pre-resection corticography. That means before you actually resect the tissue. And we have the morphology, how the abnormalities appear. So you have to have a clear mental imagery of those. What is the frequency of the occurrence, and how does it look, how does it shape,
Got it.
and all that. Then the surgeon, we'll say that, these are the structures that are actively firing. These are areas which are not firing much. We can find out the boundary zone between the abnormal to normal. That is our role. And then, so we say that, up to here, there's massively spiking. Just behind this, there's very little spiking or no spiking. And if at all there is some spiking, it may be reflective of that. Okay, so we assume that. Then we say, then we decide on the boundary zone. Okay, let's resect this.
Like the Lakshman Rekha.
The Lakshman Rekha. Then the job is done. Then again,
You recheck.
we come in. Then he places again the same electrode behind where the resection has been done, behind
The margins again.
the margin. And what we are now looking at is, if the spikes, do they resemble the spikes that were earlier seen? If they are of the same type, that means you are not resected enough. If you have resected enough, there won't be any spikes in that region. If you see some abnormalities that are there, but they do not resemble the previous abnormalities, that means we call them as injury spikes, because during this. So the distinction between.
Oh my goodness.
That requires a lot of
I agree.
experience.
No, I've seen both of you in action in the theater. I've seen
And-
you. That's why I called you a surgical neurologist, because you push the surgeon sometimes say,
Sometimes,
take it off. I've seen that happen. And I think that, like you said, without trust and confidence, Ravi cannot come. How can I trust this guy? If something happens, eventually the surgeon gets the blame.
Correct.
This is what happens. So
Correct.
it's very critical for you
So
to have that.
then we'll start bargaining a little bit.
So we have a lot of arguments.
That's the
Yeah.
time when we
Yeah.
actually argue. He said,
is
"No,
good.
I can't do this
I
anymore."
want to preserve the brain. He wants to remove the brain. So there is one song by Lo Biga. Have you heard it? Little bit of Monica, little bit of Clara, like that. The song goes.
Oh, I haven't heard this song.
So remove brain means you want a little bit of
This
other things
structure,
too.
little bit. So I say, okay, let's remove a little bit, half a centimeter
So
more.
guys, what both of experts are trying to say is every millimeter,
Yeah.
sub-millimeter of the brain is important, but yet to be too conservative and leaving it behind out of panic will not create the result that you
That's
want.
exactly the
So
point.
that is why they have to fight. They're not fighting because something else is going on. The argument is going on in the patient's interest, not in either of their interests, because
It
they
is
want
not.
to make sure they're literally there, because every half a millimeter can make a big difference
Exactly.
in seizure freedom, medicine freedom versus something in between.
Yeah.
And I think, it saved them that this was
And-
going back
And
in
there is
again.
also a difference in perception. By all the workup he has done, he already has a very clear idea
Correct.
of what is abnormal and what
Correct.
needs to be
Correct.
removed.
Correct.
I get involved at a later stage, and though there is communication,
The same level
I
of conviction.
tend to be little more considerate. Why do you want to remove so much? Let's
Fair,
remove a
fair.
little less.
I think it has to be
So-
like that. I think one person in the
Oh,
team
very
has to be
much.
this one.
And that's exactly.
That's the balance that has
And
to
if I
happen.
have to convince him, which I have to be on top of my game, otherwise I will not be able to.
Correct.
Which means that I have to be equipped enough.
Correct.
Which means I
And,
become a
and
better. I become better at my
Yes,
work. I have
and
to.
also you should have evidence to show him. See, Ravi, because of
Exactly.
this,
It
I'm
is
telling
not-
you.
it is
If
not
you say,
because
show
of
me the
my-
evidence, then you can be able to show. See,
It's-
the wave is like this, wave is not like this, and what is going on. I agree.
And
agree.
I
and he
correlate
is
with the past.
accommodating enough that we have changed plans
Oh.
just before surgery, saying that we'll do stage surgery if this surgery fails, and we communicate to the patient's relatives.
All
everybody.
this in patient interest to make sure you maximize
Absolutely.
the
And,
results,
once
minimize
they-
the complications, and everything
Absolutely.
else.
And
I mean, that's the way, like the Hippocrates, one of the key oaths we took was, if I can't do good, don't do harm. So that thing,
That
I can
always-
clearly see that coming in very clearly, and that only comes from good people.
and
And I always say, if you have had a good training, you should know when to exit, when to live to fight another day.
brilliant.
It's
I think
honestly
these are
because
some of
you
the-
can't win all the battles.
You should not.
You should know. Sometimes meningioma
You don't
is
go for
bleeding.
glory, no.
Yeah,
no.
so you know that sometimes
Yeah, sometimes when the
something
going is tough, you
yes.
got to be.
Yeah, you have to know how to, and we can do, like you said, stage surgery is still possible. You can still go back and
We do that,
I
and
think
we
so.
always, communicate together.
When
We
the
talk.
epilepsy is multilobar, stage surgery is always possible. One shot surgery is possible. Stage surgery
but it
is
also, because
possible.
some things the morphology changes after some time, and you can
Exactly.
actually know how to plan it better. Maybe you need lesser at the second time than what you would have planned in the beginning. I think
Exactly.
that also we
I
have
think
seen
these
many
are
times in movement disorder surgeries.
In movement
also.
disorder, no?
We see the same way. Like I do one side and the 30% benefit in the opposite side, which people are still not able to explain why that happens. And the patient is happy with the 30% benefit. He says, no, the
Fine.
rest of it I'll manage.
Correct.
It's like that. So,
it's that's what it's a two-way
it's amazing
communication
because,
all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing
So
how
it's-
the brain
And that's
works.
what functional neurosurgery is all about.
Yes.
It is, function, and how each area, controls the other. You do something here, there's a benefit
Yeah,
on the other side.
correct.
And this dialogue is important because nowadays you have something called as responsive neurostimulation, where you don't do resective surgery at all.
Okay.
You put grids,
Okay.
which are implanted for 6 months, 1 year.
Huh.
Seizures are recorded.
Hmm.
And then you have electrodes which suppress the seizure.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a DBS.
Like a DBS. It's
Uh-huh.
a closed loop
So
system.
when you have such a
Through the same grid.
Through the same. Yes.
or is there a separate electrode
No.
placed?
It's a.
Oh, you decide which of the grids to stimulate.
which are
and-
the, yeah. So
Ah,
it records as well as it can. It's a closed loop system.
interesting.
So that is not available in India.
So I think that's the future. I think I
No,
keep
but I
telling.
don't know how successful is RNS.
It's still palliative at the moment.
In this sense, no, Ravi, I think like my professor in Japan used to say, he used to tell me when I was training as a functional neurosurgeon, my fellowship. He said, Sharan, do you know aneurysm surgery is not brain surgery? He asked me one day. I said, what do you mean, sir? But the aneurysm is outside the brain, no, Sharan? He said.
Yeah, technically it is. Yeah,
He said, like CABG. See, the CABG is not open heart surgery, no, it is open chest surgery. They don't open the heart in CABG. They open the heart only for valve. You open the chest. No. So what he's saying is the guys who go inside the brain like a glioma or these guys, the epilepsy guys, you're actually doing brain circuit surgeries.
Ah.
So I mean
The
the
finer
finer
element of
aspects
it.
of so that means the more in you go, Ravi, the more responsible you have to become because the whole thing's become so much more concentrated the more deeper you go. And then
Correct.
every millimeter now, like I say, 1 millimeter in the basal ganglia is like a kilometer.
Correct.
It's so tightly packed. Everything is critical. So I think that's where, people like you and putting those electrodes, checking what's happening, like how I stimulate and check every point, awake surgeries and coming, that brings me to awake surgery.
We have a very long relationship. We first met in Nimans, I
Correct,
think. I was
correct.
doing my post-graduation. You were there in
Correct.
Nimans.
1994, 93, 94.
Correct.
Oh,
So we met a long,
I was
long
doing
time.
research on neurology.
I know you.
But I want to be a
mentioned-
neurosurgeon. So I would hang around with these guys, see
Wow.
what's they're doing, learn some tricks and just, rub shoulders with them and feel good about it.
Then subsequently, I met you from 2010 onwards, once I came back from
Correct,
Chitra.
Chitra. That's right.
And the same thing, I saw your, what can I say, obsession to improve, obsession to develop
Ah.
and become much better, pursue your dream.
Correct.
So I
Thanks.
saw all that.
Do you ever do awake surgeries in epilepsy surgeries at all? Is
we
there
have
an
done
indication?
quite a few.
Why? In what kind of patients?
Around 30 cases, I think.
Yeah.
In any
Uh,
particular type of patients?
Then we operate on eloquent area,
Okay.
motor cortex and language areas.
Language areas.
So there are techniques where you map out and then sparing those absolutely eloquent area, you can take out the lesion, which we have now done quite a few.
Correct.
Our confidence also grows when you operate on the language area. That language deficit is not a must. There are ways to save the language cortex and remove the abnormal area. Again, all using subpile resection techniques.
Correct. I
So
agree.
these are knowledge and skills acquired. What should I say? One after another. They don't all come at the same
Correct.
time.
I agreed. It won't come at the same time.
Yeah.
I agree with you. In fact, now that you said awake surgery, one thing I remember was Professor Mashid Sami, who had
Yeah,
come
yeah.
to Mumbai for a conference in 2016. And he was talking about the benefit of fMRI in his practice. So, and he was talking, we know that fMRI is the best for spoken speech, at least standardized, and motor cortex. So he was talking about a story of a 19-year-old Ukrainian girl who came to him for surgery for a tumor in the Broca's area. That's the area of spoken speech in the left side of the inferior frontal lobe. And she had 100% intact speech. First data point. Second data point. Her profession was she was a foreign language translator for 5 foreign languages. And he says, I'm supposed to remove this intrinsic brain tumor from the Broca's area and preserve her speech. He says, but for fMRI, I would not have touched her with a barge pole. So he sent her for an fMRI to see what the hell is going on in this Broca's area. How is the speech area and the tumor coexisting?
Correct.
Something is going on here. And when he did the fMRI and saw the results, what lit up was not the inferior frontal lobe, it seems, in that side. It lit up the inferior temporal lobe on the same side. The body had healed itself and moved the Broca's area to the inferior temporal.
Plasticity.
He could go and take it off with no deficit in speech. And that clearly shows how the brain can itself do a lot of
Correct.
healing. And if we can facilitate it in different ways, I think the future of neuromodulation and is going to be huge.
No, here we have left out one huge thing.
Hmm.
Physiotherapy and rehabilitation.
Okay.
The anterior speech areas can be sacrificed.
Okay.
That
Really?
is Broca's, yeah.
Okay.
And they recover. They
Okay.
take little time, 2 months, 3
Mhm.
months, and they recover completely.
Mhm.
So, but that 3 months are very anxious period for the family.
Correct.
and the patient.
Mm-hmm.
So we go through extensive counseling even before doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you will most probably recover,
Mm-hmm.
but it will take time.
And you need rehab for that.
And you need rehab for that. The same thing with the motor cortex surgery. The lower motor cortex is sacrificable.
Mhm.
Low motor-
Face area, tongue area, you can resect without any problem. It's
Mhm.
only the hand area which
The-
is
and the thumb.
cannot be resected. So even in the hand area, the anterior part, the front part of the motor cortex can be resected without permanent damage. So
Okay.
there are several intricacies which you realize as you gain experience.
I-
That
And that's I mentioned that in the Vikram's podcast. Somehow I feel that God has created this human body for surgeons. You know, and you are reiterating exactly the same thing. So much of adjustment and accommodation
Yeah.
is possible.
I'll just give this extension of what he was telling. And this we have used this concept to resect lesions just on the abutting the hand area.
Mm.
And the seizure is actually involving the hand area, but not primarily there, but
Mm.
it's getting involved. And this thing, the motor cortex is like this from front to back, anterior, posterior.
Mhm.
And on the table, we do the stimulation of the hand cortex to find out where exactly is the hand knob. And if you stimulate in front means on the motor cortex, but anterior part, you will have to require higher current
Mm.
to get the contraction.
Mm.
You go to the posterior bank and stimulate, you will require very small current to go. So you have a differential. So you can actually resect the anterior part, which is still the motor cortex,
It's amazing.
because it is producing a.
so all these things are
So
not
these are-
available at the beginning of your career
Correct.
or
Yes.
even in med career. Unfortunately, the entire knowledge it takes time
Correct.
to come.
And that's why unless somebody like us get dedicated to these works and give up certain other things that we would otherwise have done,
Correct.
I think each of us have given up so many things to dedicate our life for this
Yeah.
work. And unless again the passion is there, I think it doesn't work. So if you understood now that you do the ECOG, you look at the bank, you make sure you get what is resectable, what is borderline resectable, and where rehabilitation can play a good role. What is a no-go area? We have cleared lines, Lakshman Rekhas that is there, and that you say you keep changing as more and more wisdom comes in and more clarity of interpreting what the data is coming out. So assuming that you guys have done a good job on all these things, what can you promise as the seizure freedom and the medicine removal freedom that for patients? Does it differ? Obviously, it differs from different kinds of patients. You said couple of things. Number one, you said curative surgeries, you said palliative surgeries on one side. Then you guys also mentioned temporal surgeries, extratemporal surgeries. Can you give a sort of a summary about which patients are here in the form of seizure freedom, function, and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a snapshot of these various things very nicely, which you classified, the best results where you can actually almost 100% or 99%, you would call it, for two pathologies. Surprisingly, one is the largest pathology, which is the hemispherotomies, the hemispheric pathologies. They do extremely well. That's the first pathology. The second one is what is called the bottom of sulcus dysplasia, focal cortical dysplasia. Very localized, very clearly abnormal, but restricted to one area. So what is called the bottom of sulcus dysplasia, that is practically curative. Very high results of complete seizure freedom, and they can come out of medication. So hemispherotomies have got the best, and the focal cortical dysplasias. Then comes, lesions which are there, clear-cut lesions, for example, what are called, long-standing lesions with epilepsy, lesion-associated epilepsy tumors, which are called, nowadays called LEAT, lesions due to tumors. And these are like what are called DNETs,
DNETs.
developmental. So that is
DNET,
one.
gangliograms.
Dysembrioplastic
Gangliograms.
neuroectodermal tumors, gangliogliomas. These are chronic lesions.
Correct.
And then you have cavernomas, which
I was
are
just going to
vascular
say that, yeah.
malformations, small ones, which are then you remove them and then they become all right, and the surrounding tissue.
I was just going to say that. See, because sometimes we operate cavernomas without seizure, because they bled.
Yes.
I don't look at the margins to remove, because that time
that you don't
come.
need.
So now you need an ECOG or something in these patients to remove the margin.
If the cavernoma is producing drug-resistant epilepsy, you must.
Yes, that's what.
On the
So
other hand,
again-
if a cavernoma is being operated because it has bled,
Yes,
that's not
yes,
really
that's
needed,
where-
because that's the
No,
presentation
that's
is a
because
bleed.
the hemosiderin ring, which is in the white matter,
Mhm.
is causing epilepsy,
Yeah.
not the cavernoma per se.
Got it.
So after removing the lesion, you have a part of the brain which is abnormal,
Correct.
which needs
which
to be
which
removed.
has to be removed. Perfect.
So now you
So
have
lesions.
So you have clear cut, hemispherotomies, focal cortical dysplasia, bottom of sulcus,
Mhm.
not the larger ones. Then you have this, the tumor
DNS
associated.
cavernomas with seizures.
Yes, cavernomas. They are very good.
Mm.
Ones with intermediate is these classical mesial temporal lobe epilepsies and all that. They have a very high success rate, but they may have occasional seizures here and there once in a way.
So they
So they
still
may
need
not-
to be
they
on
are-
medications.
They may 50% of them will require medication. The other 50% doesn't require. So which patient will require, which patient
We'll
will
never
not,
know.
we'll know on follow up. So we can't promise them this thing. The ones that has the least actually will be the MR negative, where there's no lesion on the MRI, absolutely no lesion, and you have identified a network, but it's still a bit regional. It's not very focal. Those they have a substantial benefit. They're much better than what they were. Much better. They may have an occasional seizure, but otherwise nothing more than that. So I think that will require medication. They won't be medication free, but they can have a very, very significant improvement in their
Quality of life.
That is how I'll classify. You have any
Now,
other?
when we started our epilepsy surgery careers, temporal lobe was considered as the one having the best outcome.
That's what I was just going to say that. Yeah.
But now, when we have a much better, after stereo EEG, much better understanding of frontal lobe epilepsy, extratemporal epilepsy, their results are as good as temporal lobe surgery. So we don't tend to distinguish between temporal and extratemporal. The key is understanding the semiology and establishing a good hypothesis, and same steps till you reach
those
concordance.
steps.
The problem with dysplasias is you may have MRI visible dysplasia and surrounding brain may have MRI non-visible dysplasia.
I remember you have showed me that in many surgeries and how challenging that is, and when his role, ECOG's role, becomes so critical to decide, and then that's always have I removed too much, have I removed enough. You're going from like a pendulum from this side to that side.
That's why I said focal cortical dysplasia of the bottom of
the
sulcus. That has got the best. But a little more extensive, different type of dysplasia, that is a bit dicey.
Got it. So now, one last personal question I'm going to ask you guys. So I still remember, we have a great relationship among us. So you have any comment to make on that? I want to hear, with me,
I think
because we have a great friendship, and I definitely want the world to know, what kind of relationship we share.
I tell you, the first time I met you was, in an epilepsy surgery workshop at Ramaiya in 2011, November. And I had to give 3 or 4 talks. I didn't know you. You just came and then you told me, I'm Sharan, I'm a functional neurosurgeon, I'm this thing. And you just told me, Dinesh, I just like the passion in what you're doing. I can see that you're very passionate in your field. I was just, we're just 1 year into and what I learned from you is that, at that time itself, I could make out that you're a, extremely positive person. friendly, outgoing, but very passionate in your approach. And you could identify the good people around. And that is something that and that has carried on. And
I
we have
agree.
been all the time in touch.
Yes.
And what I like about you is your infectious positivity
Thank you. Thank you.
and your spirit of, building something very meaningful to society. Being a great neurosurgeon, but also building a technology wing, and the way you have built neuro rehabilitation is fantastic.
Thank you.
It's with
And I will need your help to spread it across the
we'll
country.
do that.
We
That's for
definitely need
sure.
it because so many patients need this service.
That's for sure.
word for
What
God.
a wonderful how it has grown up. The vision that you all had at that time in 2011. You told that I'm interested in this and I'm building it up. And the way it has come
I
up.
don't know whether I've told you, I want to be a neurosurgeon from 8th standard.
That's another thing. We share two things in common.
Correct. One is the
One is the eye.
Both of us have undergone eye
And the other
surgery
thing is
for
we have got
myopia.
for
I also undergone a
myopia.
radial keratotomy for my
He has
eye.
undergone the
But
stage
still
1.
you need glasses. For
Yeah, this
the,
radial keratotomy corrects only up to -6.
huh.
So mine was -6.5 and 7 points. So I've got a small residual correction with some astigmatism.
He did the radial keratotomy was the first
First
revolutionary thing, but it was the initial one.
Correct.
I went through LASIK, but that was the first part of LASIK,
Correct.
in the sense when LASIK just
came in.
But for me, it was a higher risk because it was already detached and all
Detached,
that. No?
yeah, you
So
had
they have to apply
yeah.
pressure, no? So sometimes you can redetach, I believe.
Correct.
I said, you go ahead. Let's see. Nothing happened.
Vision is optional for you.
So it's so I mean we share the same thing. And the other thing is you said that by 8th standard you had decided to
neurosurgeon. Not even doctor,
okay,
neurosurgeon.
so he decided earlier than me.
Yeah.
I was still, a vagabond at an 8th standard, so I didn't know what I was doing.
Perfect.
But it's amazing.
And what about you? About my knowing us?
We have a very long relationship. We first met in Nimans, I
Correct,
think. I was
correct.
doing my post-graduation. You were there in
Correct.
Nimans.
1994, 93, 94.
Correct.
Oh.
So we met a long
I was
long
doing
time
research on neurology.
I know you.
But I want to be a neurosurgeon. So I would hang around with these guys, see what they're doing, learn some tricks and just, rub shoulders with them and feel good about it.
Then subsequently, I met you from 2010 onwards, once I came back from
Correct,
Chitra.
Chitra. That's right.
And the same thing, I saw your, what can I say, obsession to improve, obsession to develop and become much better, pursue your dream.
Correct.
So I
Thanks.
saw all that. And that was a very good thing to see. And see you develop into a better and better version of neurosurgeon with each passing year. And of course, the neuro rehab, which has come out in such a big way, which I use regularly for all my patients now.
Yes.
So that's become a given.
Correct.
And the most important thing I appreciate in you is you helped me develop my team. Once I came
amazing.
out of
I think that's the biggest contribution.
the hospital, you introduced me to Sujat.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you introduced me to Sagar Hospital.
Correct.
And from then onwards, the team has grown in leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
Though we have never directly worked with each other, I think we have depended on each other for many things.
That's a functional network.
Yes, functional network.
So anatomically in different places.
Yes, same here.
But functionally
Somehow we are so
connected.
connected and we know, each other and what we
See,
do.
this conversation occurred so naturally.
Correct.
Unless there is a functional connectivity, it
True.
will not be possible.
It will not be possible.
It's amazing.
So I think I love this conversation, but all good things have to come to an end. That's what I think. But before we end, any last message you have for the people on listening to this podcast, especially the epileptics or their families and doctors who want to get into epilepsy? What is the message? You go first.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you from the point of view of our patients, people with epilepsy, there is huge hope for all of you, because I'll tell you one thing, that 70% of people with epilepsy, they can get cured and controlled and cured They can come out of medication. Many of them can come out of medication. 70% of them. So that's excellent news. The other 30% who unfortunately do not respond to medication, half of you can be treated and can be cured by epilepsy surgery. So this is the positive message that we want to, and you can lead absolutely normal lives, and that is something that we want to emphasize. So many of our patients have they've come back to society. They are contributing actively to society. So I think that is the message that I would like to give hope to all our people with epilepsy. They can study, they can get married, they can get children, they can contribute to society, they can do everything possible, whatever they want to do.
Fantastic.
So you pursue your dreams, whether you're in the 70% or whether you're the 30%, well, you all have hope. That's the first message. For doctors, whatever field you take, skill yourselves. And the first 10-15 years of any doctoring career should be in skilling, whatever field you want to take up. Don't look at just the money. You decide, okay, this is what I want to become. So where do I get skilled in that? Spend the first 15 years in that.
Find the right mentors.
Find the right mentors. Go to people who can actually guide you. Spend a lot of time. Get skilled. Come back and apply those skills. Improve upon those skills. And, by the time you're 45, 50, you can be a great asset to society in whatever field you want. That's my message.
Perfect. Fantastic. So, just to add, what he's saying is those who are epileptic sitting in the corner, leaving your children behind, telling them that they're like a dharti ka boj, that should not happen. Please bring them out, get it treated first. Many of them just get better with medicines, and if they don't get better with medicines, there are better options available. There's hope at the end of the thing. Ravi, your last.
So my message is the same. I want to reiterate that epilepsy is curable with medicines in majority of the cases. So you have to consult the right people to get that right medication, and in whom those who have received the right medication, the epilepsy is not getting controlled, need to be evaluated for possible surgical options, and which have been very well refined now, and the results are very good in again majority of cases. And for those who have developed some sorts of psychological problems, they need attention from that aspect too. So it's possible to reintegrate in situation in society, and we have seen that many of his patients have got married and leading a normal life. There is no need to hide that, and can reintegrate into the society as a student, as a responsible earning member, family member. So it's all possible nowadays.
Absolutely.
So only thing required is the willpower to do it.
Correct.
And this is a combination. It's not a single person's effort.
True.
It's a combined effort of the family, the patient, the caregivers to achieve that
Absolutely.
result.
Thank you. And I want to tell the viewers that, especially the parents of a child, especially a girl who is an epileptic, they hesitate. They come and ask me, should I tell the boy's side that he
Yeah.
has an epilepsy? I said, you have to tell them.
Absolutely.
If you want, please bring them to us. We will tell them that epilepsy is not a problem. You can have a normal married life. Nothing is going to happen. Please remove that from your head psychologically, that it means nothing. But it is important to tell them that it's there rather than
Absolutely.
hiding it from them. Nothing
Absolutely.
matters at all. With today's age and the kind of science that we have, I don't think you should worry. So guys, thank you very much for listening to us. And before we sign off, and I'm me thanking my guest for the day, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and the bell icon for sure, and also share this video, because you never know who is the next person in the team in this world, who will be the next Jaunty Rhodes, will be the next person who's going to become a successful person with epilepsy. And then the book is available on Amazon, Rebooting the Brain. The documentary is there. Please grab each of these things, watch it. You people spend so much of time watching useless videos on YouTube and this. Please get some useful things also, because you never know when you or somebody else needs your help. So guys, thank you very much. It was a fantastic talk. I loved
Inspirational.
every
Wonderful.
moment of what has happened.
It was just
Thank you
brilliant,
so much.
Sharan.
Thank you so much
and
for
team,
this.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all that you're doing for the patients with epilepsy. And, may God give you the strength to do many, many more years.
Thank you.
And one last selfish request from my side, make sure you train enough people so that these skills don't die with you. Because that will be the biggest disservice you'll be doing to society by doing that. I know you guys are doing it, or you inspire more people to do this. And, the sky is the limit for having maybe 500 epilepsy surgery centers so that we get out of the backlog. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Namaste.
So, Dinesh, as the last customary action in this podcast is I need to give each of you the book that we have written. So, this is your personal copy of the book, Rebooting the Brain.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's like that. So,
Thank you so much.
I'd love you to read the
Sharan,
book.
it's a great privilege, honor to receive your book. And I'm sure it's extremely well written.
Please read it and please
Thank
tell
you.
me what your view is.
Thank you.
And Ravi, same thing to you.
Thank you very much.
You've been such a kind senior. I keep telling everybody he's one of the best surgeons, neurosurgeons that I've met. So thank you very much. And your feedback also on the book will be highly appreciated.
Thank you. Thank
As
you
you
so
see,
much.
Part 1. We have many more.
Part 2
to
is
do. Yeah, it's already cooking in my brain.
Wonderful, yes.
you call me the best neurosurgeon, but you have told you never want to be the best neurosurgeon.
So for the audience, I want to say, guys, you get two kinds of money from the court on this motor vehicle accident cases. One is the money you spent on hospitalization. That there's a formula there. With some exceptions, that money will be given to you based on production of the bills. Second one is the additional money that's called money because of disability, because of which you may not be able to perform like a normal human being as you were before the accident. So this disability-based compensation depends on so many factors. And it's not a common set of factors. It varies from person to person. For the second thing, experts like us have to come to the court to give an honest evidence so that we can empower the court to make some informed decision as fair as possible at the end of the day. Some problem ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಸರ್? Kidney function test ಇದೆ, liver function test ಇದೆ, heart function test ಇದೆ, thyroid function test ಇದೆ, there is no brain function test. In the world,
brain function.
In the world ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅದು.
Acha.
So ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ you do a blood test for yourself.
Correct.
You get a report. Report has two numbers. It has your number and a number next to it, which is the normal range.
Normal range.
Both these numbers are not available for neuroscience. How the hell? Imagine trying to manage diabetes without checking blood sugars. Imagine trying to manage BP without checking BP, sir. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಖ ನೋಡಿ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. I can't look at your face and say your BP is high, sugar is low, so on and so. This is how primitive and how challenging at the same time neuroscience is, and that's why the court struggling. You are saying we are struggling to tell the court, giving it in an objective way, as fair and as honest as possible, because it varies from person to person.
ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರು? ಅವ್ರದ್ದು 3 ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್. ಒಂದು ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್, ನೀವು ನ್ಯೂರೋಸರ್ಜನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವು MBBS ಮಾಡಿ MS ನ್ಯೂರೋಸರ್ಜನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ, ಹೌದಾ? ಒಂದು ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್. ಎರಡನೇದು ಸೂಪರ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಾಲಿಟಿ, MS, ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಆರ್ಥೋ ಇದೇನು ಸಾರಿ MCH ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ, ಅದು ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಎ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ಥೋ ನ್ಯೂರೋ ಸರ್ಜನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಎರಡನೇದೇನು, ನೀವು ಇಂಥ ಡಿಸಬಿಲಿಟಿಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರ. ಅಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀರ. ಮತ್ತು ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷದ ಅನುಭವ ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶರಣ್ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸನ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಆನ್ ಆರ್ಥೋಪೆಡಿಕ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಆನ್ ನ್ಯೂರೋಸರ್ಜನ್, ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಇವರೇ ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟು ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸರ್ಜರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಇಷ್ಟು ಕೇಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಡಿಸಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಇಷ್ಟು ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ನಾನು ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡೋ ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ನ ಟು ಸೇ ಇಗ್ನೋರ್ ಆರ್ ಟು ನಾಟ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಆರ್ ಜೆಟ್ಟಿಸಾನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಅದರಿಂದ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇವ್ರೆ.
So again, this happened with my exchange in the court. I had written, patient came to me for a follow-up on this date ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದಿದೆ ಸರ್. ನಾನು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಮೆನ್ ಅವ್ನು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಂಗೆ ಪ್ರೂಫ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು, ರೆಸಿಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಐ ಕುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕುಕ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ ದೋಸ್ ಡೇಟ್ಸ್.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್.
ಸೊ ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ಓ ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಔಷಧಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಟ್ರಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ. ಡಿಡ್ ಯು ರೈಟ್ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ಸ್? ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ಯೆಸ್. ಹೌ ಶ್ಯೂರ್ ಆರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್?
He's taken it.
So he is very right. How sure are you he swallowed it? Because he has not given bills.
Correct.
Sir, such valuable information. I didn't realize that. I am assuming that ಬರ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ ಔಷಧಿ ತಗೋತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅವ್ನು ತೋಳಿಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸರ್.
You can't speak on his behalf ಅಲ್ಲ.
And he is saying, sir, these bills are not in the court. I said that it is left to the court to decide.
Correct.
And so what I'm saying is, ಒಂದು ನಮ್ದು ಟಿವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ಟಿವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸೀರಿಯಲ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದಾಲತ್ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ?
ಹೌದೌದು.
ಜೋ ದಿಕ್ತಾ ಹೇ ಹೋತಾ ಹೇ ದಿಕ್ತಾ ಹೇ